If I could go back in time and talk to my 50-year-old self, I would say there are certain lessons I unfortunately learned too late, but you still have time to put them into practice. Charles Johansson, a 50-year-old man, was at the peak of his career as a civil engineer. He had a busy routine, slept little, ate poorly, and rarely made time for exercise or his family. Charles thought he was in control of everything, that his health was rock solid and that he had plenty of time ahead. Little did he know that the choices he made at that moment would deeply shape his future. Now, at 80, Charles looks back with a mix of regret and wisdom. He realizes he underestimated things that, had he known back then, would have made all the difference in his quality of life today. Drawing from his experience, Charles decided to share the 7 pieces of advice he wishes he had heard at 50. 1. Sleep is the best medicine. Don't underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. It heals more than you think. Charles vividly remembers his sleepless nights, staying up late working on projects or watching TV until the early hours. He used to think sleeping was a waste of time, something he could make up for on the weekends. What a mistake. At 50, Charles began noticing the first signs that something was off: irritability, lack of concentration, and frequent forgetfulness. He blamed it all on work stress, unaware that inadequate sleep was undermining his mental and physical health. Now, at 80, Charles understands that sleep is a fundamental pillar of health. He realizes that a lifetime of sleep deprivation took its toll. Heart problems, type 2 diabetes, and even early signs of cognitive decline could have been avoided or minimized if he had given sleep the importance it deserved. If I could go back in time, Charles says, I would establish a sacred sleep routine. I'd sleep at least 7 hours a night, no exceptions. I'd create a relaxing bedtime ritual, turn off all electronics an hour before bed, and make my bedroom a sanctuary for rest. Charles learned that sleep is not just a period of inactivity. It's when our body repairs itself, our brain processes information, and memories are consolidated. It's also when our immune system strengthens to protect us from illness. I remember reading about the benefits of sleep, but I never took it seriously, Charles admits. Now I see my grandkids making the same mistake. I try to warn them, telling them that sleep is an investment in future health, but many still think it's just an old man's exaggeration. Charles advises people in their 50s to treat sleep with the same respect they give to nutrition and exercise. Set a fixed bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends. Create a sleep-friendly environment, dark, quiet and cool, and please, take that TV out of your bedroom. He also stresses the importance of seeking help if persistent sleep problems occur. Don't ignore insomnia or excessive snoring. These could be signs of more serious issues like sleep apnea, which, if left untreated, can lead to severe complications down the road. 2. Beware of those who drain your energy. The people you spend time with can either lift you up or drain your vitality. At 50, Charles was surrounded by people he considered friends, co-workers, neighbours, long-time acquaintances. He was proud of his wide social circle, not realising that quantity doesn't always equal quality when it comes to relationships. I had a friend, let's call him Frank, Charles recalls. Frank was what we call a toxic friend. Every time we met, he had a new drama to share, a new complaint about life. At first, I thought I was helping by listening to him, but over time, I realised I left those encounters feeling exhausted and down. Charles was slow to realise that some people in his life were draining his vital energy instead of contributing to his well-being. He kept these relationships out of a misplaced sense of loyalty or fear of being alone. If I could go back to my 50s, Charles says, I would be much more selective with my friendships. It's not about being selfish. It's about preserving your mental and emotional health. He learned that at 50, there's still time to choose your companions wisely. At this age, you have the maturity to recognise toxic relationships and the courage to distance yourself from them. Start paying attention to how you feel after interacting with different people in your life, Charles advises. Some will leave you energized, inspired, and happy. Others will leave you tired, irritated, and anxious. Pay attention to these signs. Charles suggests making an inventory of your friendships. Make a list of the people you spend the most time with. Next to each name, note how you feel after interacting with them. It can be eye-opening. He emphasizes that it's not about cutting ties abruptly, but setting healthy boundaries. With some people, you can simply reduce the time spent together. With others, it may be necessary to have an honest conversation about how the relationship is affecting you. Charles also learned the importance of cultivating new friendships, even after 50. It's never too late to make new friends, especially those who share your values and interests. Join clubs, volunteer, participate in hobby groups. You'll be surprised how many wonderful people you can still meet at this stage of life. He stresses that the quality of your relationships has a direct impact on your health and well-being. Studies show that people with positive, supportive relationships have stronger immune systems, lower risk of heart disease, and even live longer. Don't underestimate the power of good company in your life. 3. Exercise is the best natural therapy. Never underestimate the power of physical exercise. It's the most powerful and free antidepressant. Charles clearly remembers how he viewed exercise at 50. I had 1,000 excuses, he admits. I was always too busy, too tired, or I simply didn't see the need. After all, I wasn't overweight, and my health seemed fine. What a big mistake. At 50, Charles, like many his age, underestimated the importance of regular movement. He spent most of his day sitting, whether at the office or at home. Weekends were for resting, not exercising. Occasionally, he'd go for a walk or play some golf, but nothing consistent. If I could go back in time, Charles says, I would make exercise an absolute priority in my life, not as a way to lose weight or get ripped, but as an essential investment in my physical and mental health. Unfortunately, Charles learned too late that regular movement is crucial for keeping both the mind and body in balance. At 80, he now struggles with mobility issues and chronic pain that could have been minimized or even avoided if he had started a regular exercise routine earlier. Exercise isn't just about muscles and bones, Charles explains. It's about cardiovascular health, hormonal balance, and mental well-being. It's about feeling alive and energized. He stresses that at 50, there's still time to build a strong foundation of strength and endurance that will be critical in the decades to come. Don't wait until you're in pain or dealing with health issues to start moving. Begin now, even if it's with small steps, Charles suggests. Start with simple and enjoyable activities. Find something you like. I discovered late that I loved swimming. It's a complete, low-impact exercise, perfect for all ages, but it could be dancing, yoga, cycling. Whatever it is, the important thing is to move regularly. He emphasizes the importance of incorporating different types of exercise into your routine. Don't focus on just one type of activity. Combine aerobic exercises for the heart, strength training for muscles and bones, and flexibility and balance exercises. This combination is key to healthy aging. Charles also learned about the impact of exercise on mental health. I struggled with mild depression for years without knowing it. I thought it was just stress or the weight of age. When I finally started exercising regularly, on my doctor's advice, it was as if a fog lifted from my mind. He advises not to underestimate the power of exercise as a natural remedy for mood and anxiety. Studies show that regular exercise can be as effective as medication for mild to moderate depression, and all the side effects are positive. Charles emphasizes that it's never too late to start, but the sooner the better. At 50, you still have the advantage of strength and endurance. Use that to your benefit. Build the habit now, and your future self will thank you immensely. He suggests starting slow and gradually increasing your efforts. You don't need to become an athlete overnight. Start with 15 minutes of walking a day, increase it to 30 minutes, and add some bodyweight strength exercises. Consistency is what matters. 4. Choose your habits wisely. What's easy today will be hard tomorrow, and what's hard today will become impossible if you leave it for later. At 50, Charles had several habits he thought were harmless, or even part of normal adult life. Smoking a few cigarettes a day to relieve stress, having a few drinks of whiskey every night to relax, eating fast food for lunch because it was convenient. He didn't realize he was building a fragile foundation for his future health. I thought I had everything under control, Charles admits. After all, I wasn't a heavy smoker. I didn't drink to get drunk, and I ate salads once in a while. I thought I could easily change these habits whenever I wanted. What naivete. Charles learned the hard way that habits and addictions become more ingrained and harder to break with age. What seemed like an easy choice at 50 turned into a daily struggle at 60, 70, and 80. If I could go back in time, Charles says, I'd be much more careful about the habits I was cultivating. I would choose a healthier lifestyle early on, knowing it would ensure a more peaceful and higher quality of life in old age. Charles stresses the importance of looking at your daily habits with a long-term perspective. Ask yourself, this habit I have today, how will it affect my life 10, 20, 30 years from now? Is it something I'm willing to carry into the future? He suggests making an honest inventory of your current habits. List all your daily habits, both good and bad. Be brutally honest with yourself. Then categorize them into 3 groups: habits you want to keep, habits you want to modify, and habits you need to eliminate. Charles learned that the key to changing habits is replacing them with healthier alternatives, not just trying to eliminate them. When I quit smoking, I started chewing sugar-free gum. When I cut alcohol, I replaced it with relaxing teas at night. Find healthy substitutes for your bad habits. He stresses the importance of starting with small, gradual changes. Don't try to change everything at once. Focus on one habit at a time. Give yourself time to adjust. Remember, we're talking about lifelong changes, not fad diets. Charles also learned about the power of anchor habits. Associate new healthy habits with routines you already have. For example, before brushing your teeth in the morning, existing habit. Do 10 minutes of stretching, new habit. This makes it easier to incorporate new practices into your life. He emphasizes that consistency is more important than perfection. Don't beat yourself up for not being perfect. If you slip one day, don't use that as an excuse to give up. Just get back on track the next day. It's the sum of our choices over time that makes the difference. Charles stresses that it's never too late to make positive changes, but the earlier you start, the easier it will be. At 50, you still have the mental and physical plasticity to adopt new habits with relative ease. Use that to your advantage. Don't wait until changing becomes an urgent health necessity. He encourages people to see building healthy habits as an act of self-love. Every time you choose a healthy habit, you're telling yourself you care about your future well-being. It's a gift you give to your future self, and believe me, your future self will thank you immensely. Charles wraps up this point with a reflection. Remember, your habits shape your life. Choose them wisely, cultivate them with patience, and reap the benefits for many years to come. 5. Money brings security, not happiness. Save at least 10% of what you earn. It will bring you peace of mind far more than any impulsive purchase. At 50, Charles was at the peak of his career. He earned well, but he also spent a lot. He had the mentality that he worked hard and therefore deserved to enjoy all the luxuries money could buy: new cars, designer clothes, expensive dinners at fancy restaurants. It all seemed justified. I thought I was living life to the fullest, Charles recalls. In reality, I was just accumulating things and experiences without real meaning. And worse, I was neglecting my future financial security. Charles learned too late that the real value of money isn't in what it can buy at the moment, but in the security and freedom it provides over time. If I could go back to my 50s, Charles says, I would completely change my relationship with money. It's not about accumulating wealth, but about building a solid foundation to live well without financial worries in old age. He stresses the importance of starting to save and invest early. Start by saving 10% of everything you earn. It may seem like a small amount, but over time, with compound interest, it turns into something significant. And most importantly, it gives you a sense of security that no material possession can provide. Charles suggests that people do a visualization exercise. Imagine yourself at 80. What would make you feel more secure and happy? Having a healthy bank account, or memories of expensive dinners and luxury cars? He learned that true happiness lies in the simple things, not in material possessions. At 80, I realised that my most precious memories are of simple moments with family and friends. No material possession compares to that. Charles emphasises the importance of educating yourself financially. At 50, you still have time to learn about investing, retirement planning, and financial management. Don't leave your future in the hands of others. Take control of your finances. He suggests starting with simple steps. Make a detailed budget, know exactly where your money is going, cut unnecessary expenses, invest in your financial education, read books, take online courses, consult a financial planner. Charles also learned the importance of diversifying investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify your investments to minimize risk. And remember, investing isn't gambling. Look for solid, long-term investments. He emphasizes that it's never too late to start taking care of your finances, but the sooner the better. At 50, you still have time to correct financial mistakes and build a solid foundation for the future. Use that advantage. Charles wraps up this point with a reflection. Money is a tool, not an end in itself. Use it to create security and freedom, not to impress others or fill emotional voids. True wealth lies in the peace of mind that a well-planned financial life can provide. 6. Relationships are the key to happiness. At 50, you should invest more time in nurturing your relationships. They are what will truly matter as the years go by. Charles vividly remembers how he prioritized his life at 50. Work always came first. Family and friends came second, during whatever time was left. He thought he was doing the right thing by ensuring a comfortable future for everyone. Little did he know he was sacrificing what truly mattered. I missed so many precious moments, Charles laments. My kids' birthdays, family dinners, reunions with old friends. I always had an excuse, always something more important to do. What a foolish mistake. Charles learned too late that relationships are life's true treasure. It's the bonds we create and nurture that give meaning to our existence and sustain us during tough times. If I could go back to my 50s, Charles says, I would make relationships my number one priority. Family, friends, community. These are the pillars of a truly rich and satisfying life. He stresses the importance of investing time and energy into cultivating genuine connections. It's not just about being physically present, but about being emotionally present. Listen attentively, show genuine interest, share your own vulnerabilities. Charles suggests that people do a relationship inventory. List the most important people in your life. Now ask yourself, how much time and energy do you devote to each of them? Do your actions reflect the importance these people have for you? He learned that the quality of relationships is more important than quantity. Don't worry about having a huge social circle. Focus on nurturing deep and meaningful relationships with a smaller group of people. It's these connections that will sustain you over the years. Charles emphasizes the importance of resolving conflicts and misunderstandings quickly. Don't let resentments build up. Learn to forgive, to apologize, to have difficult conversations. Life is too short to hold grudges. He suggests creating family rituals and traditions. Establish regular moments of connection. It could be a weekly family dinner, an annual trip with friends, or simply a daily phone call to your parents. These rituals create lasting memories and strengthen bonds. Charles also learned about the importance of staying open to new relationships, even after 50. It's never too late to make new friends or deepen existing connections. Stay curious about people and be open to new experiences and perspectives. He stresses that investing in relationships isn't just good for emotional well-being, but also for physical health. Studies show that people with strong social ties live longer and are more resilient to illness. Social isolation is as harmful to health as smoking or being sedentary. Charles wraps up this point with a reflection. In the end, what really matters are the people we love and who love us. It's the shared moments, the laughter, the tears, the stories we tell each other. Prioritize that now, and you'll build a treasure of memories and connections that will sustain you for the rest of your life. 7. Live by your own rules. Never let others' expectations define your life. Everyone has their own pace and yours is unique. At 50, Charles was living a life that seemed perfect in the eyes of others. Successful career, big house, fancy car. He followed the script society had set for what it meant to be successful. But inside, something wasn't right. I was living to meet others' expectations, Charles confesses. My parents, my colleagues, society at large. I was so concerned with doing the right thing that I forgot to ask myself what I really wanted out of life. Charles learned too late that living according to others' rules and expectations leads to a life of regret and what-ifs. He realized that everyone has their own path to follow, their own pace in life. If I could go back to my 50s, Charles says, I would give myself permission to live by my own rules. It doesn't matter what others think or expect of you. What matters is being true to yourself. He emphasizes the importance of pausing and reflecting on your own values and desires. Stop and ask yourself, am I living the life I truly want? Are the choices I'm making my own, or are they influenced by others' expectations? Charles suggests a visualization exercise. Picture yourself at the end of your life looking back. What kind of life would you want to have lived? What choices would you want to have made? Use that vision to guide your decisions today. He learned that it's never too late to change direction. At 50, you still have decades ahead of you. Don't be afraid to make drastic changes if they bring you closer to who you really are and what you truly want. Charles stresses the importance of defining your own version of success. Success isn't about money, status, or recognition. It's about living a life aligned with your values, about making a difference in a way that only you can. He suggests starting with small changes. Identify one area of your life where you're living according to others' expectations. Now think of a small change you can make to live more in line with your own desires. Start there. Charles also learned about the importance of surrounding yourself with people who support your authenticity. Cultivate relationships with people who encourage you to be yourself, who celebrate your quirks instead of trying to fit you into a mold. He stresses that living by your own rules doesn't mean completely ignoring the needs and feelings of others. It's about finding a balance between being true to yourself and being a responsible member of society and your relationships. Charles wraps up this point, and the video with a final reflection. Remember, you are the author of your own story. Don't let the fear of others' judgment or the pressure to conform keep you from living the life you truly want. True happiness comes from being authentic, from living according to your own values and passions. Start today. Don't wait until you're 80 to realize this. So, what do you think of these pieces of advice? Do they make sense to you? Which one do you think you need to apply more in your life? Leave a comment. If you liked the video, comment 7 pieces of advice. If you didn't, comment 4 regrets. That way, I'll know you watched until the end and what you thought of the content. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos on how to live better after 50. See you next time.